I'm giving away $10 cash to a random winner in the comments of my most recent giveaway video, and every time that video gets another 10,000 views, we're going to have another winner. So all you need to do to enter is click the link below and watch the video.
Hello, welcome to another tasty unboxing video with me, Dander McDindleduffin. And in the last installment, we unboxed a vehicle which was very important for me personally, the Volkswagen Touareg. But in this particular installment, we're unboxing something which is a bit new. Not only new to me, but also new in comparison to the rest of my collection, because the vast majority of vehicles that I've collected, be it cars or bikes, have been 1/18 scale. But to put this into perspective, the reason why these vehicles are 1/12 scale instead of 1/18 is because this is an example of a 1/18 car. This is one of my favourite models that I've got. Let's get it in the right position on the camera. The Cadillac 16. This is 1/18 scale, and as you can see, it's pretty big. When you go from collecting 1/18 cars to then collecting 1/18 motorcycles, well, it doesn't really fit in with the size of the series, let's say. Now, technically, that's probably accurate. You know, 1/18, the purpose of 1/18 is that each inch represents 18 inches on the real vehicle. That's the way all scales are worked out. So technically, this is probably accurate. If you look at the size of the seats in the car, compare it to the size of the seat on the motorcycle, then that is probably accurate to real life. But the point is, it doesn't really look that impressive. This does, but a bike on the other hand, well, it doesn't. It looks very dinky, even though that's pretty big for a motorcycle model. So on this occasion, I've decided to change things up and go for 1/12 scale motorcycles. And I've actually purchased 3 of them. Now, 2 of them are from the same manufacturer, all 3 are Italian bikes, and so let's get to those. Now, as I said, they are partially packaged. I'd already got them out of the primary box, but as you can see from the packaging here, the first one is an MV Agusta, also in a pretty nice silver, which is relatively rare for an MV Agusta in real life, let alone as a model, so I'm probably going to employ some of the classic chipmunk sped up tactics for this particular video.
And ideally I could do with something sharp to extricate the time spent. But I didn't need to in the end. So, as I said, 2 of these are from the same manufacturer, 1 is from a different manufacturer, but all 3 are Italian bikes, 2 super bikes, or technically 2 sport bikes, and 1 cruiser.
And you'll see the reason why I went for 1/12 scale as I actually get it out of the packaging. I mean, you can already see the difference. It's a pretty massive difference. Now, thankfully, with a bike model, it's not as fiddly as with a car, as you can see, because there's not really anything to screw a motorcycle into when it comes to the packaging. So I wondered if I might need a screwdriver for this one, but of course I don't. So if we pull those through,
hopefully without breaking them. We have more on the back. Oh, how did I miss that? So yeah, I like collecting motorbike models as well as cars, even though cars are definitely my main passion, both in real life and when it comes to models, but one of the main reasons why I collect more cars than bikes is because there's simply more range on offer. You can get more of the cars that I love than you can the bikes that I love. My actual dream model would be to find a Y2K, but I don't think they even make one. So, let me try to get this out without snapping the bike, because as with real motorcycles, models are often more fragile than cars as well. And the weight difference is notable. So if I can pull that through without breaking anything. There we go. And number 2. Number 15, Burger King Colors.
and there is the first bike. As I said, silver MV Agusta. This is an F4. As you can see, slightly older shape. I believe it's the F4 1000R. And yeah, I love MV Agustas. As I've said on the channel before, I believe that they are the motorcycle equivalent of Pagani. You've got the quad exhaust there, very Pagani thing to do. Of course, the silver is kind of reminiscent of the 90s Zonda, but that's not what I have in mind. The fact that they have this almost like gothic style to them. So yeah, the scale is pretty nice. It's not metal, which is unfortunate because obviously with most scale cars, large or small, they do tend to be either metal or resin, whereas this, it is plastic. It's pretty light, there's nothing to it really. It's definitely more fragile than a car. But it does have steering, as you can see. Of course, this isn't going to appeal to as many people as most of the car models would. There is a kickstand as well, thankfully, which makes positioning a lot easier. But yeah, that's the first one of the three, the MV Agusta F4 1000R. I believe maybe late 90s. I don't recall when they brought in the 1000, because the first model, I believe, was a 750. And then this is probably early 2000s. But yeah, pretty awesome bike. And just to show you the scale, this is my Aprilia, as I showed you before, the RSV Mill factory, and then comparing that to the 112 scale MV Agusta. And even, you know, I have to put this one like that close to the camera for it to be the same scale, which is literally that far apart. So the scale between the two, I mean, just look at the tyre difference, it's pretty crazy. But the funny thing is, that one looks ridiculous next to the car, and yet, if I get this Cadillac back again, the scale comparison is actually, you know, far better. It's not more accurate, of course, but it looks better as a set, because then, you know, the bike actually doesn't get, keep getting the camera positioning wrong, the bike doesn't get crowded out by the car, because obviously a car like this and a number of the other models, they're so large and imposing that you could easily not really notice the bike. But yeah, this is definitely a better scale. This is actually the first 112 model I've ever unboxed. And obviously 2 more to follow. So let's get to those. Of course, the second one, once again, semi-packaged. I'd already got it out of the box. This is also a Maisto. I believe the other one... No, the other one wasn't a Maisto, I don't think. This one is, though. It is another MV Agusta. As I said, 2 from the same brand. This one is a newer model, though. In both senses of the word. Incidentally, I believe that MV Agusta, the silver one, I think came from Austria, I think it was. And this one came from California. But surprisingly, the postage actually wasn't bad at all. Now the Cadillac, my Cadillac 16 model, that has the highest postage I've ever paid, because that was from America as well. But no, these were pretty good. All 3 of these motorcycles were about £50 for all 3, and that was including postage. So I consider that to be pretty good, really. Obviously, Maisto don't make the most expensive models around anyway, so it's not going to break the bank. This one, oh, this one's pretty well packaged, because it's almost like vacuum sealed in there, so I shouldn't need to undo anything. That comes straight off. That's a pretty cool way of packaging it. Certainly more kid-friendly. And then that should pop straight out, and it does indeed. So obviously much more vibrant colours on that one. There's a lot of backlight here, so you can't quite see the full vibrant red. Incidentally, if you want to see some better images of these models, I'll probably put these on my Instagram, and the Instagram is right here. So I'll put images of all 3 of these bikes on my Instagram for you to check out, and you'll be able to see the colours of this one a lot better. So yeah, as I said, this is another MV Agusta. As you can see from the styling and the shape of the headlight, it is a much, much newer model. Also, one of the most distinctive things about these is that triple exhaust there on the side, which is a pretty nice looking feature instead of the quad underneath, because this is of course not an F4, this is an F3, the 3-cylinder or triple that MV Agusta makes. Whereas this one, the F4, this is a 4-cylinder between 750 and around a litre. This one, F3, and I believe they do at least 2 different F3s. I think there's the F3 675, I believe it is, and the F3 800. I don't think they do any bigger than that. And they use similar engines in a number of different models as well, but of course I'm more of a sport bike guy. So yeah, pretty gorgeous looking bike. It's got the red, gold and silver with the gold wheels as well. The wheels are more of a slightly duller gold than the frame. The frame's metallic, the wheels aren't. But again, it's a Maisto model, so I'm not expecting it to be, be the best thing around. Once again, it does have a nice little kickstand, which always makes it easier to display. But yeah, as I said, check out my Instagram to see better images of that one as well. That one in particular, because obviously you can see the silver already, but I really want you to see the vibrant pop of the red on that one. And the final one is actually the most interesting of the 3, because this one is not what I was expecting. Because this one is actually a Ducati. And this is it. The Ducati Diavel Carbon. This is actually probably my favourite Ducati now, because of course for a long time my favourite Ducati was the 748, which incidentally I do have a model of, which is the same scale as this one, 118. And it would be cool to get a 112, I might actually get one if I can find one. But this one has become my favourite in more recent years. It's totally my kind of bike. It's big, heavy, chunky, somewhat understated but kind of beefy at the same time. That big V-twin sounds fantastic. It's got a custom big fat rear tyre made, I believe by Pirelli, just for the Diavel. So yeah, awesome bike. And of course that exhaust on the side is gorgeous. It kind of reminds me of a more attainable version of the Confederate F131 Hellcat, which is a pretty stunning looking bike. But here's the funny thing, and this is what I didn't know about this bike when I bought it, and when it arrived I realised it's a build-it-yourself kit, which is not exactly what I wanted. So I'll put that closer up so you can actually see it. And yeah, so I'll probably do a bit of a, not quite a time-lapse, but a bit of a chipmunkified video, because I haven't even tried to put this one together yet. It should be pretty easy, because it's for kids, you know. This one's made by, oh, this is Maisto as well, so just like the MV Agusta, the red one. So yeah, we'll try, it looks like it clips all together pretty easily. And I'm not opposed to build-it-yourself models, it's just not what I bought when I ordered the bike. It didn't say that in the ad. It wasn't overly expensive. As I said, all three were 50 quid together, so it wasn't expensive at all, but it just wasn't what I bought. It was the bike I bought, but not the condition. So let's get into this. And of course, this is where the chipmunk portion of the video will probably come into full effect.
And chances are I will use the chat box over on the right-hand screen to put time codes in the video if you want to jump around anyway, but for now, we can get started on this one and see how long this takes. And then the actual, great start, and then the actual parts. So I've got the exhaust over here, so I will recover that. And then we can continue. So let's get started. Where shall we begin? I think I shall begin with the main frame of the bike. Now doubtless, I will probably need to, well, apparently I'll start with the exhaust. Doubtless I will need to refer to the instructions, so I'll probably end up coming back to that. But for now, I'll see if this is simple enough to just do without the instructions. So we've got the number plate, the lower of the frame, we've got the seat. I really like the seat on the Diavel as well. Really big, comfortable looking seat. We've got the headlamp. We've got the either side of the engine/transmission. The front tyre, which, nothing special about that, looks like a normal motorbike, but then we get the rear tyre. And even though it's a toy, so you can only see it so much, but look how chunky that is. I love that chunky rear wheel and chunky rear tyre. We've got the, looks like, yep, both, oh no, we have 3 disc brakes, either side for the front and for the back. Okay, we have the front suspension, fuel tank, oh interesting, that's actually metal, strange choice, metal fuel tank, that's good. We have liftoff, we have one half of the fairing, I need to recover the other half. We've got the primary part of the centre frame where the seat goes. Lower portion of the frame with some of the red trellis. Of course, handlebars. The, I believe, front mudguard. We have the chain and rear mudguard. It's actually got, woo! We have the, well, as I said, the chain and mudguard, but the mudguard on the back is very large on the Diavel, it's massive. And we have, finally, well, not quite finally, the screwdriver that you need. And what's this? We have 1 mirror, 2 mirror, a spring. I think I might need the instructions then. And it looks like we do actually have some screws. I was hoping, and I actually would have been more impressed. Got some longer screws, some shorter ones. I would have been more impressed by this model if it was actually just a clip together one. But obviously it's not. It is a screw together one, so I need to find that other piece that I dropped. And we're back with that other piece which went flying. So let's get started. So I think I will have a look at the instructions because I don't want to break it, obviously. Take a quick look. That's only 1 page anyway, there's the instructions. So, we have... Don't want to tighten up a screw all the way when you're doing something up. That's a top tip for life. And always screw things... If you have 4 or more screws to do up, and this applies even to wheel nuts on a car, always go diagonal. Don't screw them up 1, 2, 3, 4. Go 1, 3, 2, 4. Because otherwise you tighten things up wrong. And now that I've said that, I'll probably do it wrong at some point in this. So I've got that one there, then this one at the back. Make sure that one's done up all the way, or at least as reasonably tight as it needs to be, because it is only a model at the end of the day. So there we go, that's already a significant portion done. Looks like some kind of hover bike. Okay, now that's done. What's next? Next up we have, so this is our spring-loaded section. We have the rear, where the suspension is, in conjunction with the side stand and transmission. So it looks to me, as you can see from this image, so it's not quite a complete seal, but that is together. And as you can see, you've got some pretty heavy resistance suspension travel, so that's good. And there is also the built-in kickstand on the side as well to stand the bike up. So that's done, that's done. What is next? Next up, so next up we are putting these together. As you can see from this image, we're going fuel tank onto frame and then attaching the rear wheel and disc brake. Whoa! Okay, so I'm guessing that we have one large disc on the back. That looks to be the case. I think that's correct. Yep, that looks correct. So there's the rear wheel. It doesn't really turn though, so I guess this is more of a static model. There's only so much you can do when you're building it yourself, I guess. So that is in place. I think that's correct. Actually, no, that can't be correct. No, that's not correct, because the disc brake is on the wrong side. So let's take that back off. Take off the disc. Okay. I think that is correct. So there's some wheel movement, but not much. Not a huge amount, but it does the job. So that's now on there. So now the fuel tank section supposedly slots over here. Indeed it does. And I'm going to guess that that is held on probably with screws. Aha. Okay, that's on nicely. So which screws do we need for this? Always going well. And that one should hold the frame together better as well, as an added bonus. So there is, that section of the bike is now done. Looking pretty good. The rear done with the suspension. Always love the look of the back end of the dival with the 2 thick strip lights and the chunky tyre. So that's that done. Now we have, according to this, the exhaust. And I'm not sure if that's actually the sump. It's where the oil sump would usually be, but it may not be. It may just be visual in a bike. So that looks to me like that one may just clip on. It does indeed. So that's clipped on. Gives the dival that distinctive, like, C-section front end, as you can see. And then we have the exhaust. So the exhaust, I believe that is that. It's coming along quite nicely. So now we have the basically whole back end done, the exhaust. Looking good. And now we have the second to last step, which is getting progressively more and more detailed and more fiddly, because this one is now over here, which is the handlebars, suspension, and headlamp. So let's get the suspension first of all. Actually, it looks like I've put the wrong brake disc on the wrong one. I've put the front brake disc on the back. And this is right about the time that I find out I need to undo this again to put something else on. So, through the power of editing, no doubt, the screw is now in. But I'll just check first. You know that part that I said about I probably need to undo it again? Yeah, I do. And thankfully it looks as if it is. So, things are looking good. The bike is attaining its true form. And now all that's left to do is apparently fit the mudguard in here. So how does that fit in there? Should be 2 small clips. As you can see anyway. So things are looking good. And now we just have a few smaller bits. We've got the dival side padding to go here. And that looks like it just clips straight on. So, looking good indeed. And once again, I will be putting images of all 3 bikes, including this one, on Instagram, so you can see them better anyway. And then all that's left to do is, of course, attach the wing mirrors, which are the only thing in this whole construction that I did smartly by leaving them last, because these would have definitely been snapped off by now. Although, personally, I'm not really a fan of the bike with the wing mirrors on, so I might actually take those off again. And the one thing that is left, which I think I will probably also leave off, to be honest, is... Oh, actually, I'm saying that. I have missed it anyway. The rear license plate with my stow written on it, which looks to me like I should have screwed it there and then it hangs out behind the rear wheel like that. But I don't like the look of that anyway, so I'm leaving it off. I think it looks way better with the exposed tyre. And yeah, I'll probably take the wing mirrors off anyway, because I think it looks significantly better with the wing mirrors off. way more like a custom. So yeah, that's finished. We've got the side stand, the rear suspension, tyres move, or the wheels move. The front one not so much because I tightened it up a lot. Suspension moves. Oh, not suspension, the steering moves. So yeah, that one is all done. And it only took 48 hours to do it. But yeah, that's the full bike done. So that's as a size comparison with the MV Agusta. Same scale, of course, all three are 1/12 scale, as I said. So that's the MV Agusta, the Diavel, and the other MV Agusta, my 3 new bikes. And as I said, I will be putting these on Instagram, so be sure to head over there and check them out. So thanks for joining me for this unboxing. Definitely the most tedious unboxing I've done, and based on the length of this video, it's going to need a lot of editing. So I'll see you next time for another one. Doubtless I will do another unboxing at some point, and I don't know yet if it will be a car or a bike, so we'll have to wait and see. But thanks for joining me, and of course stick around on the channel for more, and click over here in the playlist, because I've actually done a ton of model unboxings. Usually they're quite a lot quicker and funnier than this one, though, because this one was, as I said, pretty tedious. So I'll see you then, and as always, thanks for watching.